Hi, I'm Kim. Now, if you've been watching my tutorials, you'll know that recently I did a flying geese block tutorial. If you want to watch that, check up there and I'll put the link. I'll also put the link at the end of the video for you as well. But let's take it a stage further and go to a folded flying geese. What on earth is a folded flying geese? Well, this is a block that I teach my students, and you can't quite see on here. If I put it under the camera and let me show you, there we go. You can see here, these have little folds in them, so they create a 3D effect, which is amazing for your quilts. It gives just this added extra, but they're really, really easy to make. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this right now. So let's put that out of the way. And I'm going to attempt to show you how to do this without the sewing machine. So this is a folded flying geese. Close up just here, so you can see we've got the folds created. So this is a single folded flying goose. Obviously we start joining them all together to make a whole flock of them, and that's where we really get this little folded pocket effect. So what you have to start with, I will give you the dimensions in a minute, but we are going to start with 2 squares and a rectangle. So in this particular example, these 2 little squares are 2 inches square, and this little rectangle is 2 inches on the height, and it's 3.5 inches along the length of it. And we're going to make a little sandwich. So if you take one of your 2-inch squares and you want it right side facing up towards you, then you're going to take your rectangle and you're going to fold it in half, wrong sides together, so that the right side is facing out. But you want a nice exact folding it in half, okay? And you're going to put that on top of your little 2-inch square, like so. So you want all the raw edges, all the raw edges down this side here, and the raw edges meeting there, the raw edges meeting at the bottom. This is where your fold is, and you will have a little gap here. That is exactly what you want. Okay, so having created that, so we've got right side facing up of our square, our little rectangle is folded in half with the right side facing out. Then we take our other little square and we place it right side facing down. Okay, and we've created a little sandwich. So if I show this up to the camera here, can you see in here I've got the little fold inside here. So I've just created a little sandwich, and you've got this little bit of excess on the edge, which is exactly what you want to happen. And then the next stage that we're going to do, here's one I prepared earlier. For those of you who live in the UK, you'll know that this is a bit of a thing. Here's one I prepared earlier. Here is one I prepared earlier. So you are going to stitch along the top, not on the side, but along the top. So if I take this one again, we've got the fold on our right, and you're going to stitch along this section here. Okay, along the top. So your fold is on the right, you've got raw edges here, raw edges along the bottom, and we're going to stitch along the top, just your standard 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then if we turn it round, okay, you'll soon see which way it turns round, and we open it up a bit like a book. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to start with, and this time we are going to press our seams open. And I know what the rule is. Normally we press to the dark side, but in this instance, you're just going to finger press those seams open like that. You'll get a little fold at the top. Don't worry, it'll all flatten out when you put it under the iron. So finger press for now, turn it over, and this is where the magic happens. Get your finger in and you separate it out. Okay, and you want to make it all even, so it turns into an even triangle like that. Okay, and then when you put it under the iron and straighten it all out, then you will get that there. Isn't that great? They're really quick and easy to make. Really quick and easy. So when you've joined them together, so this little gap at the top is your 1/4 inch seam allowance there. So when these two are joined onto one another, you want to be careful that you get all your nice points, but that's how you get a nice row of your flying geese. Okay, and that gets rid of all the raw edges there as well. Okay, so what happens when you need to size them up or down? So let's put those to one side for a second. You need an exact rectangle. So an exact rectangle, I'm just going to get a bit of paper to show you, because that finished size is 1.5, oh sorry, that was the wrong bit, is 1.5 by 3 inches. By the time that's all stitched into a block and we've lost our seam allowances, that'll finish at 1.5 by 3. I've got a stray bit of thread there which will not come off, which is quite small. But what if you wanted to do folded flying geese for your borders, or just a part of a block that it needs to be bigger? So we need to size it up or down. So it needs to be this exact rectangle. So if you think that this is 1.5 and 3, that is an exact rectangle. This side here, the length is twice the measurement of the height here. So this is really easy, I promise. So all we're taking, so if we take this one, which is 1.5 by 3 inches. Okay, so that's finished size. If you watched my flying geese tutorial, you know I did a whole tutorial on how to size flying geese up or down, and this is a similar process. So we need our 2 squares, first of all. So we need 2 squares. Those are our sky. And our 2 squares, we just need to add on 1/2 inch all the time. So this is our standard measurements for patchwork. Whatever our finished size is, we add on 1/2 inch for our seam allowances. So 2 squares, which are these ones here, we make, in this particular instance, 2 inches by 2 inches. Can you see? So 1.5 plus 1/2 is your 2 inches by 2 inches. Those are our 2 squares. And then our rectangle, which I can't spell, and it's going off the top of the screen there. Our rectangle will be our 2 inches by 3.5 inches. Okay, so we've got our 3 there, add on 1/2 inch to get to 3.5. So that's that rectangle there. Where's my original one? So this rectangle in this instance is 2 inches that way by 3.5 inches that way, and these little squares are 2 inches by 2 inches. And then what happens is this allows for, when it's folded and stitched in and then opened back up again, it creates enough room for your seam allowances and for the stitching along the bottom of the seam allowance there. So if you wanted to take it up a size, so this one here, I have made another version. This is a huge one. This is 3 inches that way and 6 inches that way, finished size. So I want my finished size to be 3 inches by 6 inches to make that one. And then the same thing again, I want to cut 2 squares. So these squares started out as 3.5 inches square. So we're adding 1/2 inch onto that. And then our rectangle started out as 3.5 inches, okay, by 6.5 inches. Do you see what we did? We took our finished size of 3 by 6 and we added 1/2 inch on. And that's all there is to it. So whatever your finished size needs to be, add on 1/2 inch. And the only thing I would say is you have to have, as I said, an exact rectangle. So your exact rectangle is, if that's the height and that's the width, this needs to be exactly twice your height. So whatever your height is there, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, this needs to be, where are we? 4 or 6 or 8. It needs to be exactly twice that for it to work, just as much as our little one over here was 1.5 by 3. That's an exact rectangle. I thought I'd give it a go. I tried to do a bit of a funny version to see would it work if I had an odd shaped rectangle. So this one was, I wanted a finished size of 3 by 4 inches. And you can see by my little sad face there, when I open it up, it does not work. I kind of knew it wouldn't, but it just doesn't, it just doesn't work. It's a very wonky goose. So we're not doing that. We have to have an exact rectangle. So I hope that inspires you to take your patchwork to another level. Look a bit of folded patchwork. It's really simple, really quick, really easy. And it gives a really nice finish to, or an added dimension to your quilt. So whether this is in the main body of the quilt or around the borders as well, this makes a great addition to your quilt and takes it to a whole new level. I hope you have fun making that. Do let me know how you get on. Please share photos and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching and bye for now.